The morning of Mark Consuelos's sudden goodbye began like any other. The countdown echoed in the studio, signaling the start of Live with Kelly and Mark. The usual pre-show buzz filled the air, and Kelly Ripa sat at her desk, casually reviewing her notes. Mark, however, was absent, and at first, Kelly thought it was just another typical delay. Traffic, a late coffee maybe. But as the countdown neared its end, the stage manager's quiet words changed everything. Mark isn't coming. A folded note was handed to Kelly, the message simple but cryptic. I needed to make a decision, and I've made it. I hope you'll understand one day. As the cameras rolled and the audience cheered, Kelly's heart began to race. She had no idea what was happening, but something in the air told her that her world was about to change. A sudden absence. Kelly's unexpected reality. It was a Tuesday morning like any other, with the countdown echoing through the studio as the crew scurried to prepare for Live with Kelly and Mark. Kelly sat in her familiar chair, skimming through her notes, waiting for Mark to arrive. But today was different. Mark wasn't there. He was always punctual, always bringing energy into the room with his entrance. His absence was unusual, and as the seconds ticked away, Kelly brushed it off. Perhaps it was just a typical delay. But when the final moments of the countdown arrived, the stage manager approached her with news that shook her. Mark wasn't coming. Instead, he had left a simple handwritten note saying he had made a decision and hoped one day she would understand. Kelly's heart dropped as the cameras began to roll, and the weight of the unknown settled on her shoulders. She had no idea what was happening, but she could feel that this day would change everything. The day that felt like a dream. Kelly's struggle to understand. As the show went on, Kelly's mind was far from the script. She performed as if everything were fine, but inside, she was unraveling. After the cameras stopped rolling, she retreated to her dressing room, taking the note out again. The handwriting was unmistakably Mark's, firm and purposeful. Yet the message made no sense. He wasn't someone who made rash decisions, especially not without consulting her first. Why had he chosen to disappear without any explanation? She dialed his number, hoping for some kind of answer, but it went straight to voicemail. Desperate, she left a message, urging him to call her back. At home, she found the house eerily quiet, with only faint reminders of Mark's presence. His jacket on the door, a half-full coffee mug, his shoes near the entryway. He had left as if he were just heading out for the day, but everything about it felt wrong. The long wait. A desperate need for answers. Hours passed, and Kelly's worry grew. News outlets began buzzing with speculation about Mark's disappearance, but she refused to pay attention. She didn't care about the rumors. She cared about finding Mark and understanding why he had chosen to leave without telling her. She scoured the house, reviewing the security footage, which showed Mark leaving that morning, carrying his usual backpack, head down as if on a regular day. But it wasn't a regular day. It couldn't be. Every minute without him felt like a piece of her world was slipping away. Just as Kelly was losing hope, her phone buzzed, and she saw Mark's name. Her heart skipped a beat as she answered, her voice trembling. When he spoke, his tone was soft, almost apologetic, as if he could feel the weight of the pain he had caused. A wake-up call, realizing the pressure they both faced. As Kelly listened to Mark's words, something inside her shifted. The life they had built together, the careers they had forged side by side, had always been a source of pride. But over time, the pressures of the spotlight had begun to take their toll. Kelly had been so focused on keeping everything running smoothly, on being the strong one, that she hadn't seen the cracks forming around them. She hadn't noticed how the constant demands of the show had weighed heavily on Mark. The morning that Mark left was a wake-up call for Kelly. She realized that they had both been struggling, both of them caught in the grind of daily television, and neither of them had taken the time to step back and ask if they were truly okay. Mark's decision to walk away was a painful but necessary step toward finding peace. Facing the truth. Kelly's decision to be honest. The following morning, Kelly faced the cameras with a renewed sense of clarity. For the first time in a long while, she wasn't just a host. She was a wife, a partner, and a human being. She decided to speak honestly about what had happened. "Mark is safe," she began, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "He needed time to think, and I support that decision." Kelly went on to explain that sometimes the hardest decisions weren't made for the audience, but in silence, without the answers immediately available. Mark had chosen to step back, not because he didn't care about the show or the audience, but because he needed time to reconnect with himself. She was proud of him for making the choice to be true to his feelings rather than continue to perform for everyone else. "I'm proud of him," she said, her voice breaking slightly. "I'm proud he chose honesty over pretending." It wasn't an easy statement to make, but it was the truth, and Kelly knew it was time to share it with the world. A quiet moment, the respectful response from the audience. As Kelly spoke, she could feel the shift in the studio. The tension that had been hanging in the air seemed to dissipate. The audience listened in respectful silence, understanding the gravity of the situation. There was no dramatic twist, no sensational reveal, just a simple truth about a difficult decision. Kelly had done what she had always done. Face the truth head on, no matter how difficult it might be. As the segment came to an end, the audience gave her a gentle round of applause, their respect evident. Kelly felt the weight lift off her shoulders just a little. She wasn't just a co-host anymore. She was a person who had shared something deeply personal, and for the first time since Mark left, she felt a sense of peace settle over her. It wasn't over, but it was a beginning. A new beginning. Mark's return and a new chapter for them. Later that evening, Mark called again, his voice filled with emotion. "I watched the sunrise today," he said softly, "and I realized something important. I don't need to explain myself to anyone. But I do owe myself happiness, and I want you to be with me, whatever that looks like." Kelly's heart swelled at his words. "I'm coming home," Mark added. It wasn't just a return to their house. It was a return to each other. They both needed this time apart to understand their feelings, to reconnect with what mattered most. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but for the first time in days, Kelly felt like they were on the same page. "I'll be waiting for you," she whispered, knowing that this wasn't just the end of something, but the beginning of a new chapter. They were rebuilding, and this time, they were doing it together, step by step.